Yeah.
If you are just joining us, two young men apparently dressed in long black trench coats opened fire about an hour and a half ago.
School shooting, and now we've learned the suspect, a popular high school football player, allegedly opening fire in the cafeteria.
Of a shooting at an elementary school in Newtown, Connecticut, and you heard that right. It is unthinkable, an elementary school.
I was in the cafeteria. I remember I was super nervous about my math test.
I was outside the guidance office. Miss Rosen wanted to talk to me about my college essay.
I was in the bathroom.
I was in art class.
I was in the gym.
I was on my way across the quad.
I was.
I was.
I was actually homesick that day. Honestly, I wasn't that sick. I just needed a mental health day. Track practice had been canceled that day. I forget why, so I thought, perfect, what a perfect day. Just to catch up on my shows, eat some Cheetos, relax.
So I was crossing the quad and I was freaking out because I knew I'd be late for bio. But as usual, my locker got stuck and I couldn't get my book. I was thinking about if I had like an old hall pass in my bag that I could forge so I wouldn't get in trouble when...
I heard the gunshots. It sounded like something breaking, like beams breaking or also something popping. I guess I never really thought about what gunshots actually sound like. The gym was noisy, so most people just kept on playing. Mr. D blew his whistle about 10 times before people actually realized something was wrong.
I was stoked because my vase had just come out of the kiln, and I tried this new glaze on it. I remember I was poking at it with my finger, just to make sure it had a finished smooth, when I heard the first couple of screams.
I remember telling Miss Rosen that I could rewrite my essay if she wanted, that I could take out all the stuff about my dad and him leaving, that if I needed to make it happier, I could. I remember telling Miss Rosen that I could rewrite it if she wanted, that I could take out all the stuff about my dad and him leaving, that if I needed to make it happier, I could. I can tell she was trying to be all teachery and diplomatic, which made me so mad. I'm an adult. I'm almost 18. Just tell me you want me to fix. I can handle it. And just as she was about to answer me, I heard 5 pops and a bang.
I ran out of the bathroom when I first heard it. There was a girl on the ground from my English class freshman year. I ran to her. Her eyes were open. I wanted to help her, but I couldn't remember her name. The minute I touched her, I knew. I knew she was, and I tried to scream, but nothing came out.
The texts started coming in. Andreas, Eric, James. I thought they were joking. That stuff happens on the news, not at our school. So I typed back to Eric, "Okay, you sicko, LOL."
The principal's secretary announced Code Black. We all had to go huddle in the boys' locker room. I had this weird thought that I had actually never been in there. It didn't seem real. And all the lockdown drills we had to do, they didn't really prepare us for this. Not really.
There was no teacher. I remember wishing so badly there was a teacher. Not that it would have helped her. If a lunatic with a gun tries to shoot someone, he doesn't ask if they're a teacher or not.
Miss Rosen lost her shit. She went under her desk and started crying and saying her kid's name over and over. I realized in the moment that she's actually pretty young, like maybe 27. I waited until I heard footsteps running down the hallway to crawl out. There were bullet holes under the Princeton banner. There were kids lying on the ground. I couldn't tell who was actually hiding and who was, shot, I guess.
I ran back to the bathroom and I hid in the stall. I waited. I didn't even know what I was waiting for. All I could think about was that girl's face. I realized I had her blood all over me, and and I screamed, but this time, sounds came out.
I ducked into the first bathroom inside the nearest stall. I hid in there for what seemed like ages. This really popular girl, who I've never spoken to before, crawled in, covered with blood. She got herself into a stall, and I just said nothing, until she started to scream. I was so furious at her, I was like, what an idiot, what a stupid idiot! But then I reached under the wall between us, and I grabbed her hand.
My mom called me from work. She was crying. She told me to turn on the news, so I switched it on and I saw the quad, the main building. There were ambulances and cop cars, and then I saw the footage of stretchers. I walked so close to the TV, but I couldn't see who they were carrying out.
A few minutes later, I heard a ton of footsteps running. I had been praying, which is bizarre because I literally never do that. Or I have never really done that. Not since I was little. I was just praying for it not to be real. A few minutes later, a police badge got slid under the door. I grabbed it, and when I opened the door for the cop, I realized I hadn't taken a breath in what seemed like hours. The cops led us out to the soccer field. There were literally hundreds of cops. A SWAT team, ambulance. It was like a movie.
Because of all the blood, the cops rushed me out of the bathroom. I reached over to the girl who had been holding my hand. I wanted to thank her, but we got separated.
When the cops came into the guidance office, I had my hand on this foreign exchange student's stomach. I was trying to stop the blood. I don't know anything about first aid, but I've seen people in the movies trying to do it, so I was just acting on instinct, I guess. The cops called for a stretcher, and me and him both got on it, me still holding him. He wasn't crying anymore. I guess the pain made him pass out. Man, I was like, you came to America for this great experience? Now, here you are. Welcome to America, dude.
I stood in front of the TV and I couldn't even move. They started flashing the pictures of that kid, Aaron. I knew that kid. I had like 3 classes with him my sophomore year. I could not believe I knew him. I could not believe someone I knew had done that. I felt this weird guilt. I tried to remember everything I'd ever said to him, but I couldn't, and I don't think I even said much.
When I found out it was Aaron, I wasn't surprised. It made sense, in the way that something like this makes sense. Which it doesn't, but this school is hard. You have to have the right clothes, the right car, the right grades, the right friends. It's exhausting. The pressure, like, why do I have to prove myself to some cheerleader? As if I don't have enough to worry about.
I couldn't really go into the art room after that. It was just too hard. It was just too hard to remember the feeling of complete powerlessness. I guess that's what it was. I feel like it didn't matter who I was or how many people loved me or what I was going to grow up and do. It could all end here. I've never really thought about that before. So I guess that's why I can't go back in there. Not yet. I definitely spent a lot of time cursing Aaron Kendall. The murderer, the freak, the piece of crap that completely ruined everything. We all get made fun of. We all get teased. Build a bridge and get over it. Get over it. Or just, he could have tried harder to fit in. It's not that hard. Since when does getting made fun of make it okay to go shoot a bunch of people? I don't even think he really knew anyone that he shot.
I wonder what the popular kids that Aaron was trying to take down felt like. I'd feel super guilty. I almost feel worse for some of them than I do for some of the victims. How could you live with yourself knowing you essentially drove someone to insanity, all because you wanted to feel better, cooler? It's all so needless. Can't we all just leave each other alone? I have a ton of stuff going on too. I have a deadbeat dad, a little sister who's sick. I'm flunking chem. You don't see me taking it out on other people. Live and let live. Maybe if MJ and her crew hadn't spent the last 4 years torturing that kid, there wouldn't be 9 sets of parents planning their funerals right now.
I haven't been able to go back to school yet. My parents say it can take as long as I want, but I don't think I'll ever be able to go back. I'll always wonder what if. What if I'd been nice to everyone? What if I'd said hi to everyone? What if I didn't care about such stupid things? Would I be a different kind of person? Would that girl still be alive?
I can't believe I'm saying this, but I get it. I really get it. You can only get called ugly, a loser, a freak, a weirdo, or a waste of space so many times before you start to hate them. You start to hate everything. So, part of me felt this sick, like, pride or something. One of us freaks finally made them suffer. Isn't that screwed up? But it was my first thought. But only for a second, just 1 second.
Dear Mom, I'm sorry for everything. I'm sorry for not being the kind of kid you've always wanted. A soccer star, prom king, straight A student. I'm sorry I couldn't do it. I'm sorry I didn't have the strength or the skill or the ability. I'm sorry for being a freak, a loser, a weirdo, a homo, a psycho, a creep. I'm sorry I wasn't better. I'm sorry I didn't come to you. I'm sorry you couldn't help me. I'm sorry I couldn't help myself. To my fellow classmates, I'm sorry you hate me. I'm sorry you made it your mission to make sure I knew that I would never be one of you. I'm sorry that I couldn't follow your unwritten rules. How to dress, how to talk, how to think. I want you to know your message was received, and I think soon you'll have mine. I will no longer be invisible to you. I will be etched in your mind forever. You will think of me always. You will never forget who I am or who you were to me.